What are you? What are the biological pieces that make you, you? You might think that you're a brain with a skeleton, muscles, blood, and organs inside you, but what if I told you that is only a small part of you? There are roughly 10 trillion cells in the average human body. There are trillions of microorganisms that live inside us, and they count for around 100 trillion cells. These microorganisms are commonly referred to as the microbiome. So what is a microbiome? The human microbiome is a term that includes all the bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other microorganisms that inhabit but do not originate from our bodies. The human microbiome is divided into the different body parts it is located, like in the lungs, on the skin, in the nose and mouth, and in the gut, which is the focus of this video and where a majority of the human microbiome is located. The number of the different microorganisms in our gut can change due to different factors, like our diet, geographical location, genetics, and intake of antibiotics and probiotics. So how do these microorganisms get into our bodies? A majority of the content of our microbiome originates from bodily contact with our mother during birth. From then on out, we increase our microbe count from breastfeeding and exposure to the outside environment. So what does the human gut microbiome do? We have a symbiotic relationship with our gut microbiome in that we give it a warm, safe place to live, and, in turn, it helps us with our physiology. One example is that certain bacteria release enzymes that break up carbohydrates that our body would not be able to break on its own. Most importantly, our gut microbiome has a special communication relationship with our brain.
Have you ever heard of the gut-brain axis? Studies have actually shown that the gut have a direct effect on nervous system, and vice versa. The communication referred to as the gut-brain axis. The gut-brain axis includes the brain, which is part of the central nervous system, and includes the gut, which includes the enteric nervous system. It is usually called the brain in your gut. The gut and the brain have an intimate relationship. One can affect the other. The brain can influence the gut on motility, secretion, nutrient delivery, microbial balance, while the gut can influence the brain on neurotransmitters, stress, anxiety, mood, and behavior. And the main way they communicate is through the vagus nerve. If we look closely at the lumen of the large intestine where microbes are found, we can understand some of the ways in which the gut and the brain can connect. At the microscopic level, we can see that the gut lining is made of the enteroendocrine cells and then also the microbes, which are found in the lumen. The enteroendocrine cells can actually produce hormones that travel to the brain. And then there are also immune cells that produce chemicals that also goes through the brain. Microbiota, they actually produce neurotransmitters like serotonin, GABA, and dopamine. And that also affects the brain. And that's how it can affect mood and behavior. So on the other side, the brain can also affect the gut, and that's usually through the adrenergic nerve. Now we're going to talk about neurotransmitter produced by microbiome.
There are bacteria in the human gut that produce neurotransmitters. These beneficial bacteria include Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus. Bifidobacterium are linked to GABA production. GABA is a neurotransmitter that plays a role in anxiety and depression. Lactobacillus are linked to serotonin production. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that affects depression and stress. Serotonin also influences the function and motility of the gastrointestinal tract. Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus are resident bacteria in the human gut, meaning they are usually always present. These bacteria can also be consumed as a probiotic. Probiotics are live bacteria that must survive the journey through the GI tract to the large intestine. Here, they compete for real estate with the bacteria already residing there. Yogurt is one source of probiotics. Probiotics can also be consumed as a supplement. Consuming probiotics can change the makeup of the bacteria in your gut. There are also prebiotics. Prebiotics can change this makeup as well. Prebiotics are large carbohydrate chains that can be consumed naturally in dairy products, artichokes, bananas, and wheat, and other foods. They can also be consumed as a supplement. Prebiotics are too large to be digested by enzymes in the human GI tract, so they are able to make it the whole way to the large intestine. Here, resident bacteria use prebiotics as a food source. So, probiotics and prebiotics have the ability to alter the human gut microbiome and therefore influence your mood. There was a study published in 2019 by Sean Talbot et al. That showed consumption of probiotic and prebiotic supplements increased the beneficial bacteria in the human gut microbiome and improved the psychological state of the subjects. We had the opportunity to speak to 2 clinicians regarding their use of probiotics in the field. We spoke to a dietitian, Janine Mundorf, who works in an acute care setting and at a facility that works with adolescents with mental health issues. In the acute care setting, probiotics can be used in various forms depending on the client's needs. The goal is to keep the gut as stable as possible while the client is undergoing stressors and illness in the hospital. At the facility for adolescents, a healthy diet with fresh fruits and vegetables and fiber is recommended. Improvement in mental health status was observed from this change in diet. The dietitian recommends using fresh fruits and vegetables, fiber, and including vitamin and mineral supplementation in your diet to keep a healthy gut microbiome. If you wish to include a probiotic supplement in your diet, research the product beforehand and look for products that contain multiple strains of bacteria and strains that do not degrade in the stomach. We also spoke to Dr. Goodstein, who specializes in neonatology. About 10 years ago, the NICU started looking for a way to decrease the incidence of necrotizing enterocolitis in neonates. NEC is an inflammation of the bowel that can result in sepsis and death in low birth weight neonates. There was research showing a benefit from using these probiotics, so the hospital began administering probiotics to certain neonate populations. Since the NICU started probiotic administration, Dr. Goodstein stated, "I think we have saved a lot of lives." And that concludes our video. Our citations and acknowledgments are listed on this slide. We would like to thank our interviewees for taking the time to share their knowledge with us. We would also like to thank Dr. Sahu for her guidance and support of our research. And thank you to all of the PTK members who have contributed to this project.